Hello, hello, hello.
Uh, hold on.
Yeah, we're not going live.
It's going live. I always think it takes time, but I think it actually is broadcasting.
It says
Remember,
it's live.
Live on Facebook. Hello, Facebook. Can we have
Hello,
Facebook
we are live. I
know
see
who we
us.
are this week? I can't hear it. Hi.
Hello.
Where's our intro? Do we have an intro?
Oh, hold on.
What happened to our music?
I forgot to click the button.
Hold on. Hold on.
I like your glasses.
Thank you. Oh, forgot I still had them on.
Can you
In a
hear
world
this
of
now?
divisiveness, we bring you diversity. In a world of hate, we bring you love. In a world of fear, we inspire you to live. And now, laughing, loving, and alive with your hosts Rain Thomas, Elmer J. Howard, and Dr. Kevin.
Hello, hello. I am Rain Thomas.
Hello. I am Elmer Howard.
Well, I guess that makes me Dr. Kevin. How did that work out?
I don't know. That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. So I love coffee mugs. I have a whole collection and people give me coffee mugs and I find coffee mugs I like and I buy. And so as I was picking out my coffee mug to have my pot of tea in for tonight's show, I grabbed this mug and I thought, oh, this is such an appropriate mug right now for these times. Can you read that?
Let it go. I couldn't see it, like, popped away.
Oh, says, let that shit go.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. That's really important right now.
Yes. And more important than ever here at Laughing, Loving, and Alive is to help you find some laughter, to share some loving so you know you are not isolated, alone, feeling like either you're getting ready for your head to pop like a really, really abscessed pimple between COVID and politics.
I'm gonna be ill.
And remind you that you are alive. So
Absolutely.
what loving or laughing or alive thing did you experience this week, Miss Rain Thomas?
Yay!
Woo, woo, woo.
Woo, woo,
Woo, woo, woo.
Remember this? How old do we have to be to remember this, right?
I remember this.
So let's see, what is this?
Go ahead.
October 25th, 26th, somewhere around there. Well, you know, it's still Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I've been receiving lots of donations, and I'm putting together Christmas bags. I have someone that knows survivors that are stage 3 and stage 4. I don't know any of these people, and I don't know a lot of the donors either, but I'm putting together bags because at some point they will all get mailed out anonymously. So before the holidays. So that's exciting that, you know, I can just do my little part.
Hey, it's not a little part. It's part of the process. Each part of the process depends on the other part of the process happening. And it sometimes it's quote unquote, the smallest part that doesn't get done that screws the pooch.
Screws the pooch. I like that.
Yeah. Yes. I'm using my elevated, more sophisticated language tonight. Elmer. I choked on that one.
Rain is frozen.
Oh, that's all right. I know Paula when she gets back then. She can probably hear us.
Probably, yeah.
So Elmer, what thing made you laughing or loving or alive this since our last radio show, last podcast, our last Facebook, whatever we call this thing?
In the last 2 weeks, I don't remember. I don't remember much because the last couple of days has been, at least not today, but the last couple of days before that was crazy with trying to clear up a hack off my website. We thought we had got it a month and a half ago when it happened, and we rebuilt the site, but there was still stuff on it. It took me majority of yesterday, like 4 hours to clear up. So made me feel alive, I guess, that my ADHD kicked in and I was hyper focused and wasn't going to give up until I fixed it.
Yay! Does that mean I'm back?
Yes, I
Yeah.
see you and hear you.
Welcome back. Who will now affectionately refer to as sleet, which is the other name for a frozen rain.
Yes, because we have a huge windstorm. I'm surprised I could get on at all again.
But remember, I'm saying sleet. That's E-E. I'm not using a U in that word, okay?
That's okay. It depends on who you ask.
So, Dr. Kevin, what about you in the last 2 weeks?
Well, there's been a few different things. I got another poem done that came out of kind of nowhere, another 5 minutes. And one of these days when we have time, I'm going to share some of my poetry on air here and there. But it always makes me feel good when I'm creating. And I've started another new one. So, finding little odd bits of time. But probably one of the things which has been most giving me, I'm going to call it a plethora of emotions actually, is that I found this thing called the Smart Frame. And I saw it on Facebook. I decided to order one. Well, actually, I decided to order 5 because heaven forbid I should ever do anything small. And you get an email address that you can give to people and they can email directly to your frame photographs and they pop up on the frame. So you can be sitting there with the frame and suddenly you get a message on the frame, tap to see new photographs, and somebody can send you a photograph that they had of you or them or something that you'd be interested in, and you tap it, it pops up on your frame. And it will hold up to like 8,000 pictures.
Oh my goodness.
And so I actually got the first one and I've got it beside me now because I'm kind of running through it and I've sent it out because I have got it for my mother. And, my mother's in a nursing home and she's now moved into probably moderate dementia. And so good days, bad days. I talked to her on Friday and she knew that my niece, her granddaughter, and her husband were coming on Saturday. She was all excited. They got there and she didn't know who they were.
Oh, no.
Wow.
But she talked to my sister the next day and talked about how glad she was to see them.
Huh.
But when they were there, she had times when she wasn't sure who they were.
Okay.
But I'm hoping that this frame will help at least give her a little more time with what memory she has left by seeing these constant. I mean, I got pictures of her from when she was a baby and siblings and her siblings growing up and pictures of her parents and her grandparents and then all of her kids and grandkids and great grandkids. And I'm reaching out to all sorts of people to send me pictures in, and I'm making sure it works. It's up and working correctly before I give it to her so that maybe it will hold on. But having this, like going through all these pictures and reaching out and then giving people a chance to feel like there's something they could do because, as we've done a couple of shows about breast cancer and it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. But, I'll tell you another thing, which can make somebody feel very powerless when someone they love has breast cancer. But let me tell you, it makes you feel very powerless when somebody you love has dementia.
Oh yeah.
And my grandfather had it and 2 of my aunts have it. And now I see my mother going through it. I remember when my grandfather went through it. And I was a small boy when he went through it. But I remember what it was like being like 8 years old and having my grandfather not know me. And at that point, not understanding, like he chased me around with a pillow calling me a name because he thought I was somebody else.
Oh.
So, so watching this and doing this, and though this obviously isn't going to stop the dementia, I have to say that knowing that I can at least give her whatever time she has left with a panoramic view of her life from her life, from birth until now, at least can make me feel good that I'm doing what I can do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's very kind. That's a great way to help someone just kind of know that they're loved.
You know, and it's really important, I think, for our viewers, our listeners. There's nobody out there that doesn't have moments that they don't feel powerless. There's no spiritual guru, there's no high mucky mock, there's no person you have on a pedestal, always a bad idea, but you know, that
Right.
doesn't have bad moments, that doesn't have things that they're struggling with, that doesn't have moments that they feel so frustrated or so powerless, because they are powerless. There's nothing they can do directly.
Right.
Then it's about finding, where do I have power? Where do I have power in this situation? You know, because you know, I did the walk. That was the other thing that brought a big smile to my face, was a lot of laughter, a lot of love, a lot of being alive. Was my sister and I walked 15 miles for breast cancer last Sunday, because she does a walk, and she did 10 miles on Friday and 10 miles on Saturday. And then we were supposed to do 10 miles, but we were having such a great time, we did 15.
Love it.
Ah,
I love it.
and but it's the biggest block of time that hasn't been because of a crisis that my sister and I have spent together in a few years. It's like most of the time we get together, if we're together for a block of time, it's because we were, you know, with dad when he was dying, we're with mother when we're trying to figure out, where, you know, like it's crisis after crisis. And then we have these, you know, if we're lucky, we grab a dinner here or there, but her life and my life, and then our joint crises and stuff like this. And we talked about everything but, you know, the crisis stuff during that time. And so that was very big. But I do want you guys out there to remember, find the power you have. You have power, even if that power is just to be nice, just to listen with no expectations you're going to make it better, because maybe you can't.
Right.
With no agenda, with nothing to prove. If you can just sit there and witness and be, and just radiate the love that you feel and honor whatever they're going through and how they need it honored, then that is where the power is. And that's what you need to find. So I've rattled enough.
I love it. And I'm glad, because that's a great segue to our guest.
Oh, really? I never would have guessed.
It's a great segue. I don't even remember how this happened, because it's been like 5 or 6 years. And I was following this, just different musicians, and they popped up. I love Montreal since I was a kid. And so I called, and this guy actually picked up, and I said, hey, this is my name. We're doing New York Fashion Week on behalf of breast cancer survivors, especially metastatic. And, we talk about men getting involved. You're an artist and so on and so forth. Would love to have you, at the New York Fashion Week, watching us on the runway. Do you know this guy rallied up the troops and brought them to support us and interviewed a lot of the survivors? Some of them are no longer with us. So they memorialized them with all of this footage and interviewing them backstage and during all the festivities, and took it back to Montreal, where other people in the hip hop industry and music industry that would have never found us. So maybe he remembers the story differently. At age 37, I don't remember the way I used to. Be quiet, Elmer. I see you laughing.
Is your dyslexia kicking in, dear?
I just thought it was incredible, because everybody likes to say men don't get involved, men don't understand. And here was this guy who was talking about building this studio so he could make music and create this empire for other musicians and rappers and hip hop artists. And I looked up one day after that all happened, and boom, he did it. I see him in the studio, and I see all of these other people from all over the world in there producing and making music with him. So I'm proud to be in this circle. Yeah, I just absolutely love it. But of course, I'm going to leave questions to you, Dr. Kevin, and you, over talkative Elmer.
I'm just the tech guy, that's why I'm in the back in the dark,
Okay, I'll take that.
All right, so we're ready to bring on.
Is that why you think you're in the dark, Elmer? Oh, sorry.
Yes, let's bring him on. He doesn't even need an introduction. Any guy that shows up like that, clean haircut, smiling, there for women, especially strangers. Either that person is crazy or they are really genuine. So there he is.
Thank you so much. It was bringing me a big smile just hearing you recount the story of how we met. Because yes, we did bring the troops. We made way all the way to New York from Montreal. And thanks a lot again just for having me on the show. Rain, wow, it's amazing seeing you again. It has been like 4 years now. It's really something else. And where we've brought the company since then, it's really evolved.
Well, I'm glad it's evolved because you're going to like Elmer and Dr. Kevin. Dr. Kevin is going to go behind the scenes, because if I bring someone on, I let them do the questioning, because I know stuff about you that they don't know. So there are probably questions I wouldn't ask that I should ask, but I don't know to ask, other than I see you blowing up and I need to get your autograph. That's what I know I need to do, and get my Make Way shirt so I can show people that.
We'll send it all through.
I love it. And then you can send me a sandwich from Reuben's, like a burger with bacon.
We're in code red right now, actually.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's hard, but when the day comes,
I'm coming up there to the studio. I'm taking you on that offer.
I'll tell you, we're still open. We're still open every day for artists, and we're still progressing. It hasn't stopped us. A lot of artists are surprised that they're like, oh, they're surprised, but at the same time they're not. They're like, of course, your Make Way. What would close you guys?
Well, Dr. Kevin, he's all yours.
You're in trouble now.
Nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you as well. So my first question for you, I know you probably heard some of the back and forth as it was going on, because you said you liked hearing the story. Her story of meeting you and things like this. So my first two questions are, one, how does it feel to be an emperor in the 21st century? And has anyone ever questioned whether you were wearing clothes? Those are my first two questions for you.
So just the upper half. And it feels it feels amazing. I've really worked every day to get to where the company is. And there was times where it was just, you do it till you're tired, 12-hour days, 14-hour days consecutively, and giving up a lot of your social life, and doing all of that kind of stuff, really just to push your dreams and push what you really want at the end of the day. But what's cool about this industry is that, building the social life within the studio and within the artist coming through and still staying energized and loving what you're doing at the same time, it was all there for me. So everything always balanced out, and I was able to create music. I'm sure Rain's, Rain knows, of course. Yeah, I'm an artist as well. We met under different pretenses, which is why it's really funny. And I don't know if we ever go into that, but I would love to go into that story once again from my perspective, because Rain's never heard it from my perspective, because we were just actually 4 months into making a sub company off of the Make Way brand, which was Make Way Radio. And we were running all sorts of marketing ads and stuff like this. And for some reason, we hit Rain. Rain emailed us, and I just saw there was a little thing at the bottom that said her number on it. And I was like, we could go back and forth by emails, but you know what? New York Fashion Week, this is a great cause. Like, I think this is something that would be a great start to this new company here. So I called up the team that we had of the radio host, and I said, look, guys, would you think this would be possible? Do you think you would want to come out here, you know, and we present ourselves, we interview people, and we be a little bit different with it. Since a lot of the typical interviews were just somebody behind the camera reading to the person, we would get there in with them with the microphone and really get a genuine interaction with them, and it was amazing. So and anyways, we ended up, I just called her. She was like surprised, like, how'd you get my number even? And I was like, yo, look, we're really we love everything that you guys are doing. We did some research on it and we'd love to be a part of it. And it was just bing bang boom. She set it up. She told us, you got your seats, you got your thing. I got my cameraman, I got the host ready, and we came through. And we've never done something like a fashion show. We yeah, like she's saying, we were a hip hop radio. We deal with a lot of rappers, a lot of artists. So this was completely out of our body, but fashion goes hand in hand with music and different causes. And now that we're seeing that we're a brand that's actually building up, that's not just hip hop, how could we expand outside of our world? And Make Way Radio, it's a media, so we should be covering all different things. So we thought this would be a great opportunity to actually come out there, suit up. We all got freshed out for you guys. And it was a great opportunity. And when I finally met her, going through this crazy backstage rooms of people getting dressed up, she's getting her eyes done. She couldn't even see me, but she holds her hand out. And we just start talking, and that's how I met Rain. Eyes closed, holding her hand. It was just such
I
a moment.
remember that now.
And that was our first interaction. So it's just, I've always wanted to explain that to you from my perspective as well, because it was amazing for us to even go out there and do all of that. As professional as we handled it, we wanted to be on our feet. We wanted to show the best for this cause. And I think we pulled through with everything. It was amazing. And we learned so much. And I'm also really crazy sorry to hear about the people that we interviewed that have passed away. That's I didn't know about anything.
Yeah, it pops up on the Facebook feed and I see you guys interviewing them. And then I'm like, wow, you know, gone at 28, gone at 29, gone at 32. So thanks to you guys, I get to relive the memories and cherish the memories of those women, because I might not have seen any footage had it not been for you.
Wow. That's it was really an amazing experience. And yeah, it's everyone's memory will live on through those footage. And if there's ever more events, we would love to come cover them again for sure. It was really
you hear that, Dr. Kevin? He wants to come cover footage.
It had my host in tears. The big tech was in tears, and it was really powerful. It was very powerful.
Thank you.
It makes meaning out of tragedy when you can have something as like an interview at that, especially when it catches the essence of the person, for it to live on. I had tons of footage for that was shot for different reasons with my former business partner, who I refer to as my spiritual wife, whose birthday would have been tomorrow. That when she died, I was able to actually put together a whole collection of years of videos of promos we did and talks we did and things we did to give to her daughter for her to live on.
That's really nice.
These opportunities that these women had to have their voice and to know that they were fighting a battle that the odds, well, they weren't in their favor at the end of the day, but may move somebody else or may have somebody else make a different choice or a better choice or find hope or keep going. And hope is in short supply these days.
Yeah, it is.
And, you know, I was just having this conversation. I was working earlier today in my private practice with a family who's very artistic and got a lot going on, but are feeling the crush of today's environment and things like this. And it's like that hope that we give now, that light that we give now, is more needed than it's ever been. And art is the arts of any kind.
Of
are the
course. Of
that
course.
people can find a language, whether it's through music or drawing or stories or poetry or whatever, that for those who do not have voice or a way to express all that's inside of them, sometimes when they can find the expression through something you've written or your people have played or that Rain has sung or that I have created or whatever, or Elmer's created with his movies, it saves lives. It is that which helps them find something to hold on to like a drowning ship. And unfortunately, anxiety is high these days. It just
Yeah.
is. So tell me a little bit more about the arc of your story, because you know, Rain has this wonderful way of saying, I'm bringing this person on and they're fabulous and they're wonderful. I'm going to tell you how I met them and stuff. She didn't say your name. She didn't say exactly what you do. She kind of sort of referred to it as a side back door. I actually even went and looked at 2 or 3 of the posts and realized she never actually said out like your name.
Right.
I looked
So,
down at your...
I do, as my artist name, I do go by Anu Buds, but my name is Brandon Hecht. And besides for the radio and being an artist myself, I own a company called Makeway Studios where we record, mix, and master artists. But well, that's how we started. After we developed our company, we learned how much artists really need, you know, and it's more than just recording. And we saw all the demands that, you know, are coming by these artists. And I used to shrug it off, be like, I don't know anybody. And then I was like, well, look, let me start actually developing a team of these people. So it was everything from photography to graphic design to web design to just making their whole brand and putting everything together. Social media help with them as well. It was a huge one, especially lately.
Yep.
If you're sitting at home, you better be holding your phone and promoting your music somehow. So it's just great because what we were able to do is show artists how to become businesses and how to see themselves as a brand and not just, you know, just a rapper, just a singer. You have to see there's a lot more behind yourself and how to build yourself as if it were a company. And one way that I like to explain it to artists when we're talking about branding is if I'm listening for music, if I'm looking for something, anything really in the world, it's like a box of cereals, let's say at the supermarket. You go and you look, I'm not going to pick the one that's just a bag. You're going to pick the one with the mascot, with the nice colors, the one that stands out the most. These are what kids see, what people see. This is a branding. So there's no way anyone's going to pick that little bag of cereal, even if it's the best bag of cereal in the world. It's kind of, you know, there's no branding to it. And this is a big thing. And artists have to start understanding, and they are these days more than ever, is that branding yourself is going to attract an audience. And if you don't do the bare minimum, it's really hard to push your music, especially since there's so many people doing it now.
Well, you know, part of the thing is, and there are 2 or 3 different notes that you're striking here that I want to kind of touch on, because, you know, I've been an entrepreneur for 30 years. I also taught at an MBA level boot camp for entrepreneurs and dealt with artists to say, but you're a business. If you want to do your art, whatever that is, music, there's also a business component. And there was, and I remember them coming into the door of every ilk and they'd be like, but my stuff is so good, so somebody else should do everything. Yeah, well, you know, that's nice, Cinderella, but wake up, the ball's over.
Yep.
It doesn't happen that way. And part of it was languaging. Can you even language what it is you're doing? I mean, one of my big things was helping people find the language that would differentiate them from everybody else. I would do that hours and hours on end, as Elmer remembers, because he was sitting beside me ready to shoot himself. But that's so important, that the branding is also the language of the artist, and how do you differentiate and how do you put them out there? But also we have a long history of using, abusing, and throwing out artists because they weren't business owners. Do you address that part of it?
Was there any people in general you're talking
Oh,
about?
Hollywood studios for 40 years created drug addicts and threw them away when they could no longer perform.
Oh, in that sense, yeah. Like, well, these is a lot from child stars, but a lot from people, you know, not understanding their self-worth and how to value their gift. You know, once you're given such an opportunity, so many people wish that they could be at the certain level as these Hollywood artists and all this. And unfortunately, there are a lot of them that can't continue. But, you know, this addiction and stuff like this, it's a disease. And sometimes you can't really control that when there's so much money in there and you get lost in that Hollywood lifestyle. You know, it's unfortunate. We do see a lot of people when they come from, you know, they don't come from a lot, and then you put them in a situation where they have everything they could ever want. If they're not, you know, they don't have proper guidance, it's sad. But
Okay, so clearly you need to have a spiritual coach, counselor, and catalyst fly to Montreal to meet with these people so they can stay on the rails and be successful without having to like destroy their lives. Contact me after the show. That's okay.
Well, I'm talking about Hollywood. We don't have any. I mean, look, there's people, all sorts of problems in Montreal. I'm not considering that, but you know,
he's doing shameless plugging to get to Montreal.
I love Montreal. It's a great city.
I don't know, you know, too many like that personally, you know. But
you say your artists are all emotionally healthy.
Oh, not at all.
Aren't going to be sucked in because they have low self-worth and low self-esteem. So somebody says a nice comment and then screws them out of $1 million when they're not looking because they were so nice to them. What do you mean? Okay, so
what do you work with any artists in only a particular
genre?
Is that the right word? I was gonna say the genre, but I don't know if that's also for music. I'm a film.
I would
guy,
say
so.
primarily vocalists. So we don't do as much as band work, although we do have the space for it and everything. Just lately, these days, it's all vocalists. So whether it's a singer or a rapper or anything, yeah, I've done all sorts of languages, from like Russian opera to Italian stuff as well. All Spanish people come in. We get amazing type. I've done Hebrew the other day. It was amazing acoustic stuff. Yeah, we get all sorts.
Do you do any licensing with them at all?
No, we don't handle that part. We let all the artists, and we always encourage that as well, that we don't want to take a percentage, you know, especially when doing the branding, because they're like, oh, you'll manage me, you take a percent. We're like, no, this like part of all of what we're doing for you is so that you understand how to own your brand and how to own all of your music. When it comes time that you want to give someone a percentage, figure that out with your manager or a label, but you don't want everyone dipping in your pockets, and especially not the place that you started from at the studio.
Right. I was asking because I'm always looking for music to put to my films, and so you know.
Oh well, I mean,
obviously,
personally, we do have, but we don't do this with our artists and stuff.
Gotcha.
But yeah, if you hit me up, we could always arrange to have some music for you. No problem.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was wondering, because that can be expensive sometimes, as, you know, as licensing for short films and stuff.
See, I'm not the only one shamelessly promoting something here, Ray. You didn't give him a hard time, and he's.
First of all, I was the first one to shamelessly plug. We know I'm shameless. I'm coming out to Montreal, and I'm gonna get it done. So yeah, you know what? We're gonna keep him working, because that's what we're supposed to do with artists. I believe this show. I've heard someone sent me a text one day after the show. And they said what they love about this is that we bring people from all walks of life, and it's all encompassing with its inspiration. And we're supposed to help each other so that we can get to different places. And so, yeah, if you're shamelessly plugging for something, let's shamelessly do it. You just tell me when to come to Montreal. I'll meet Elmer and Dr. Kevin there, and we'll all get it done.
We'll drive up. We'll jump you, all three of us. What is so tell me about your arc as an artist. Personally.
So I started actually recording people out of my mom's bedroom when I started off, you know, and eventually, just through having so many friends that were doing music and stuff, I started freestyling myself, and I found such a passion in it ever since. And it just became like the lifestyle, you know, once I started actually developing it into the business sense, because, you know, one friend became two friends, two became four, eight. And I was like, okay, people, you know, it was getting really busy in the house and stuff, you know, and I had to start thinking, okay, look, we have to charge for this. And not only that, I have to actually like rent a spot outside of my house, you know? So music really quick for me became business orientated. because of the studio. So these two always came hand in hand. So it was really something else. And but I love making music. I'm still making music to this day. I actually just released a song. You know, we plug in. You know, I just released a song that you can check out on Spotify, iTunes, and Apple Music. And there's going to be the video coming out on the 30th.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
What's the name of the
yeah.
song?
After since 2012, actually, I've been making music and recording people, and that's when Meekway actually opened up as well. Everything
Okay.
kind of happened the same year.
So first of all, you send us the link to the song you're shamelessly plugging, and we will
Yeah, sure.
put it on the comment feed underneath this. So when people watch this, they can click through
Awesome.
and be able to get it. And I'm going to ask you the question again because you pushed right by it. What is the name of the song? Tell me the song. What is the song name?
So the song that
It's
came
called
out,
Rain Thomas in the House.
it's actually called Hoo-Wah. And the video and everything behind it is very army-like, you know? So you see me in the video with the lines of green face out, like we're going through the trenches. It's a really active video, a lot of energy going through it.
Hoo-wah. Okay.
Definitely something you guys will enjoy.
The now when you talk about, I love artists, and I find that oftentimes artists are uber creatives. Like they just do it in so many different ways, and they have one way that they hone in on, and maybe that's the way that they're trying to make a living on. But I always think it's great to hear the other places. Where else does your creativity come out in your life?
Well, a lot is in my writing, but creativity comes visually as well. When I get together with artists and stuff like this to do videos and to sit down with directors, I feel like it's a whole different level of creativity than writing a song, because now you're thinking visually and how to actually push forward the image of what you're saying and to make it make sense, because sometimes you find it's extremely hard to show a script and what you're trying to say in a song visually, and you could lose a lot of people. So that's why working with great directors, helping pushing the vision and stuff like that, I feel like that's a great way of just bringing the art to another level as well.
So you are a songwriter, you're some kind of musician, though I'm not clear exactly what that actual music.
I'm a rapper. I also do battle rap. So there's a bunch where I don't know if you're familiar with battle rap at all, but we'll have.
Isn't that where
we'll have-
Kellogg's comes from? Battle rap somewhere, Michigan.
Potentially, you know, there's tons of it, you know, and yeah. So other than that, last year I did 3 battles, and it was just really something else. It was really like bringing the energy, and it's not like making music or making songs either. This is really something, you know, you rehearse for a month in advance and stuff. And, you know, yeah, there's the whole part of attacking someone with but you're being clever with it. It's really poetry at the end of the day. It's, you can't be simple. And when people are too direct, the crowd just doesn't feel it. They really need metaphors. They need double entendres. It needs to really hit on multiple levels for people to be impressed these days. And even one of a big rapper, Cassidy, tried to go up, and he's one of my top favorite rappers. He's amazing. He's been doing it for years and years. He went up into today's game against somebody that's doing this, and they didn't like it. He didn't feel it. He didn't hit on that level because he was being too direct. And that's why I think battle rap, there's so many levels to it than just the aggression and getting in someone's face. It's really something else. If you ever study a battle, if you ever really go into one, there's a lot of levels to it.
It sounds like Saturday night at a gay bar to me.
Hey, he's already in the flavor. He's ready for it, yo.
You get a bunch of bitchy queens together throwing shade and attitude at each other. You just have to play the music behind it. You got a battle rap.
Yeah, well, welcome to the rap game. Here we are.
Well, the snatch game. So my question for you is, because I want to clarify this, because you gave me, I heard one thing and then you said something and it made me think of something else. And so oftentimes I look at myself as the voice of the viewers to ask questions, because if it's not clear to me, then maybe there's somebody else there that's going, what? So battle rap, you know, obviously there's an aggressiveness where you're going back and forth. You know, actually, I'm sure you're aware there's a number of very famous Broadway songs that are written that do just that, where they fight each other in music. You know, I'm sure it's not done in rap music because we're talking Broadway musicals, but still it's the same concept. But is it poetry or is it improv?
So there is a section of improv to it, but when people come in there fully on improv, it never goes well because it's nearly impossible to be that clever right off the bat like that. So for
You don't
most
hang out with the right people. Go ahead.
potentially anyways, for going on for 1:30 for 3 rounds, usually they prepare for a month in advance. And they'll have every round ready to go, you know, from doing research on the person to, you know, just looking at current events and what's going on in pop culture. It's always something that gets the crowd going. You have to relate to them as well because, you know, just attacking the person, sometimes the crowd won't understand certain things. So there's a lot to it. But then responding to what the person said is where a lot of improv comes. You hear something and then you could start off your rallies. And that's what I was doing in a lot of my battles, was starting off my round by responding to something they said and then going into what I had written.
Yep. Great. Yeah. So now that's clearer to me because I've never seen a battle rap per se. So your musical instrument is your voice.
Definitely a vocalist, yes.
Okay. I'm just trying to keep everything clear and also clear in the minds of the viewers.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, performing, doing battle is actually something completely new. I only did it in 2019. I did 3 of them and like, that was kind of it. Then like Corona happened and I didn't accept the new ones. But other than that, I've been just doing live performances all across our city here. And it's just the most exhilarating thing to get in a crowd full of, 2,000, 3,000 people and present your art and see the live feed. You're seeing the people, how they're interacting and how they're liking it, or if they're not liking it. And I've done from little bars of 10 people to, you know, the Telus Center, the Telus Theater here at 3,000. And it's like, it's crazy, you know. Sometimes you feel even more at home when you're in small crowds, and it's just really amazing to get feedback right away and to perform. It's always been a passion of mine. Other like battling thing was just like, let's take it to another level. Let's really test this out.
Well, there's a connectiveness with a small group where you can actually really feel a one-on-one, and you can intuitively shift the energy and the vibration of 1 or 2 people and change 10 people, but you can't change 1 or 2 people and change 3,000. So
yeah, but sometimes, you know, like it's when you have a big crowd, they're more in tune to just go with what you're saying, you know, like say like raise your hands, and, you know, little things like that. Like everyone's in tune to do that in a bigger setting than in a smaller setting, but interacting with one person at a time is better in a smaller setting, because that's how you can't do that in a big setting. It doesn't, there's not that. So just knowing how to work the crowd, how to do all that. And also that's something that I've always taught artists, because when I do shows, when I do events, half my fans are my clients or people that see what I'm doing in the city as a recording artist. And they look at that and they say, how do I get in that position? How do I do that? How do I present myself like this as well? So I get to sit down with a lot of artists, from writing to just styles of performing to recording. We go through everything.
So do you have some of this stuff on a YouTube channel that our viewers could go and watch you on?
Yeah, for sure. On the Makeway Studios YouTube channel or on the website, makewaystudios.com. Everything's always available there. Okay. And for my personal music, more is on Anu Buds on Instagram.
Okay. So we'll want to make sure that we get all of this so it's actually in writing, because people that are listening.
Yeah, for sure. I'll give you guys the whole breakdown.
Yeah, because
you know what, I want to say, you know, being a born and raised Bronx girl, you know, I know all about battle rap because it started when I was like 12, 13, and we used to go see Curtis Blow and see LL Cool J, because those were all round the way folks then. And then I went to school with like Slick Rick and Dana Dane, and you watch they would battle with, you know, different up and coming rappers.
That's wild.
At lunchtime. And you know, and I don't know how much you know about Slick Rick, but Ricky is he had such good timing. He's comedic. He was funny. Yes, he was and in school, he had the beat on the tables, and everybody there was an artist. I went to music and art, and so they had a beat, and it would do it every lunchtime, and they were called the Kango Crew. And I think it was like 8, 9, 10 of them, and everybody had this comedic timing that
Oh my
that
God.
made them who they are right now.
Wild.
And
I would have loved to
it
be in that
was
cipher circle.
yeah, it was we didn't know then, we didn't have
Of
internet or anything. We were
course,
just,
they were just
music kids in school doing something fun and making your friends laugh. And I mean, looking back, they were pioneers, and just watching like Kool Moe Dee and all of those people, we were all in the same circles because everybody was a neighborhood person. So I'm glad to see that battle rap is coming back, because people weren't cutting people's throat.
it's
you know,
really
with battle
evolved.
rap.
It's really, really evolved. And
Yeah, for sure.
what cuts it is just always going up and up. They're upping the bar. And if people that think that, like, a lot of the people who started off with battle rap too, like they just don't cut it. Like Cassidy is like I'll keep mentioning, he was a huge battle rapper. He says, before cameras and all that, I was 1,000-0, no one ever beat me, But now that it's on cameras and there's a whole different way of judging who
Right.
wins, because there's huge crowds, it's not the same. There's the internet now, and it's wild. But that's crazy that you grew up with all these people. Just when I work with somebody that's on that level, these veterans, I've worked with people like Raekwon from Wu-Tang to
Mhm.
Onyx, Fredro Starr, and Sticky. Like, when you see these people, professionals who have done this for years, go
Right.
into the studio and their work ethic, you understand right away why they are where they are. You could see it from the average artist that comes into these people. It's like it's natural. It's water. It's smooth. It's amazing. One of the greatest people I've actually worked with, Mano. The guy, he writes everything in his head, goes over it, and just gets right to the studio and says, put me on, I got it. His workflow was definitely incredible. So yeah, I could understand probably just working with them at the beginning in little circles, just bouncing on the tables. That must have been amazing.
It was incredible. And it's still incredible to look at it now, because we're all still friends. Music and art, we're all still one big sister and brotherhood. So we go support each other. When people come through, we go check them out. Because, we remember when we were all just those kids drinking out of that paper milk carton and saying, no, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go do that. And standing outside on the gate. And, I remember one time Dana and Ricky were doing this beat with 2 nickels. And then everybody, then got in it, and and then people like Biz Markie got it. It was just like this whole, everybody knew everybody. So kudos to you for getting that going again, and making me see that this is making me proud. Bronx girl. I see some of my Bronx friends and Brooklyn and Queens friends. They're looking now. They're like, yeah, that's right. That's it. Exactly. So they remember. We all remember.
That's awesome.
So how did you decide to get into the business side of things, and what did you do to teach yourself, or did you take any classes to understand, the most artists can't make that leap because, creativity is one side of the brain, and you get the intellect, the analytical thinking is the other side of the brain. So how did you make that leap?
I think, really thinking about it, is because I started off recording people and things were kind of on the business side on that sense. Once I transferred into being an artist as well at the same time, I was kind of treating it the same way when it came to, how I was going to present it to people. When it came down to studio, we would always freestyle, we'd vibe. And, naturally, I was always just able to show off, what I was doing. But when it really came to, okay, we have to start releasing this, how do we do this properly? I would think about everything I would do promotion wise for my company. And I would just start reflecting everything from Makeway to my actual artistry brand, from making a nice logo, making a nice website, making everything, presentable. Like we say, like the cereal box in the aisle, you got to look the part as well, or, just it's human nature not to go for the bright orange, you look at it, it looks nice, you want to grab it.
So here's the question. If you had an artist and you could put him in a beautiful, wonderful orange wrap and stuff like that, but you knew that it was actually a piece of crap, high sugar, addictive, bad for everybody's health, would you still do it?
Well, contrary to health, art is subjective. So, you know, who's to say if he's good or trash or high calories or not, since, you know, everyone who's taken a taste is going to have a different flavor in their mouth.
It's a good answer.
Woo!
You've never come across somebody that you've ever wanted to say, don't quit your day job?
Well, you know, the craziest thing about being in the studio with artists is, you know, it's progression. The only time where I would ever get frustrated or just like, you know, feel down about working with somebody is if they're not learning and they're not progressing. You know, sometimes I see somebody, they come in, they're whispering, they're talking like this. And then they come back, they're like, bro, I don't know what I was doing. Delete everything, I'm going in, you know, and then they got the energy up, they listen to it, they want to improve. And that's the kind of energy, regardless of what they're saying, what they're doing, they're learning something about their craft and improving it after listening to it God knows how many times when they went back home.
Well, it's, you know, it's interesting because I agree with you. Art is very subjective. I actually had a TV show that I did for a couple of years called Dragons, Unicorns, and Other Creative Creatures. And all I did once a week is have a different Uber artist on, Uber creative, to promote themselves, because I'm really big into wanting to support the art community and artists and their process and give people hope that, hey, if you're an artist, don't sell out. Don't think you can't do it. So who were your biggest supporters when you really wanted to jump into the art field, into the creative side, when it was no longer about business, but it was about being one of those, you know, shady artists that, you know, we all know don't make a real living until they do?
Well,
Biggest
supporters, I mean, I could say support wise, it was all the artists in Montreal that, you know, wanted to come record with me and that saw me for my talent in engineering, as well as, you know, as my artistry is other outside the studio. But yeah, all the artists of Montreal, that was the biggest. Without them, I mean, I wouldn't have had a business and we wouldn't have been able to do all the shows and, you know, reach all the people that we have.
What would you say to the young artist that's here today listening to this show? And I had this morning. I would say, and I was working with this family this morning, and this girl showed me drop dead artwork that she had done sitting there on a sketch pad. You would have thought that she was a 30-year veteran and she's 14. I mean, it was just stunningly beautiful. But she goes, yeah, but you know, you can't make a living as an artist, so I have to find a real job someday when I get older. And I was like, okay, stop.
Yeah, that sounds like her parents speaking, maybe.
Actually,
But
her parents were horrified when she said that.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
What would you
I
say?
couldn't express enough. It's definitely extremely possible. And every day, all these people on the internet help make it so easy to show your art. I don't know where I would be today without Instagram. The way that company has helped me grow, engage with people, it's ridiculous. I'm on Instagram just as much as I'm on my text message app on my phone. This is where extreme amount of people contact these days. And just the reach was so much more than Facebook. Facebook, you know, you have a certain amount of friends, you can't go beyond that. On Instagram, it's the world's open. You could search up anyone, you could talk to anyone, you could message your favorite artist and they might respond to you. And these days, if you're an artist, you probably can reach out to your favorite artist and they will respond to you, or their management will. There's a way to contact them, because at the end of the day, it's all a business. And a lot of artists that have worked with me, they've seen that side, and it's intense, you know, when it happens so fast and you realize you could really have these stars sitting next to you with a business move. And it's all part of the game, you know. So really learn how to brand yourself, learn how to put your stuff out there, because, you know, no one will ever see it if you don't release it. And Instagram is so powerful, especially if you learn how to really keep content going and how to engage with people. It's unbelievable.
So were your parents supportive as you were moving through all of this stuff? Were they like, go for it? Or were they like, can't you get a real job?
Well, my sister, 4 years older than me, just became a pediatrician.
No family pressure there, right?
But it was interesting because she just became a pediatrician in the last couple of years, and I've, you know, earlier than that, established myself in my business. So it was hard at the beginning when I was doing it out of the basement. You know, it was just a couple of friends, this and that. But yeah, once they saw that there was something like actually like there, you know, there was support. But you know how art is with some parents, you know, and they weren't cultured in hip hop at all. So it was definitely a bit of a new world for them when they started seeing everything I was doing, and the battles worried them, and you know. But look, we get through it.
Where are they now? Are they like, do they get how successful you are?
Yeah, they love it. My dad wears a little make-way mask.
Aw.
He always tells people at his work about what I do. Sometimes he even runs into hip hop rappers, and he tries to put me on, plugs me in with them. So yeah, and my dad really supports it. He loves what I do, and it's great to see. You know, both my parents, they've come to shows. They've seen me perform, which was the first couple times was like, it was weird. It was like that, like I'm like saying all this stuff about who I am. Like it must be crazy for them. Like my son came up with all this, like from where? So just performing in front of them was definitely something else. But it is what it is when you're a performer. When you do it, there's nothing that could stop you, and you have to keep that energy going the whole time, because this is the show world. This is entertainment. There's no time for breaks.
I was speaking once, and my mother came to hear me speak, and she never came to hear me speak because she didn't like any of the stuff that I was speaking on or teaching, but she came to try to support me. And I made the mistake of thinking that I would make her feel special by referring to her in the audience. And you know, and I was talking about being a spiritual healer and stuff like that. And I said, and clearly I'm not a product of a virgin birth. I said, my mother is right there. Right. Oh my God. I thought it would be well taken, but it really wasn't. Was there anything your parents said to you after they saw you rap the first time, like, why did you say this? Or where did that come from? Or did it all just slide?
And we got 1 minute, Kevin.
I've never had my parents reference any of my lyrics.
Okay. Wrap it up. Not up. Go ahead.
But it was funny when I first saw my dad when I was like in full mode. Gold teeth, had a little thing going on with the hat, everything, and he didn't recognize me. I put my hand on his shoulder because he was just walking in the venue. There's about like 3,000 people. Everyone was walking around. It was hectic. He was about to do coat check, and I just see him. So I put my hand on his shoulder. He looks at me. He's like, "Oh, hey!" He didn't recognize me. He's like, "Holy shit, what's going on?" You know. And it was amazing. And then he got to see that other side of me, and it was funny. And I've even told him before. A big part of my like showmanship, and you know, like once you hit the stage, has come from I grew up on his type of music, which was classic rock, and one of the bands we grew up with was Kiss. And when you go on stage, I'm sure you know Kiss, they did the full thing. So I really loved watching their live shows, and I took a lot from it. Just, you have to entertain, you have to do something different, and you have to stick out, because that production value was just amazing. And I was actually
all right, I love this, but we've got to wrap this. You stay on, don't go anywhere, Annie Buds. I want to thank everybody. Next week we have Peaches from Peaches and Herb, so I guess that's kind of a musician rap too.
Shake the groove thing. A little different era, but she's got a new song out. I'm excited to hear about it.